Hey guys, it's Rodimus Primal. I am back with another video, and today I am finally bringing you guys my review for Transformers War for Cybertron Siege Prowl. Now, he's been sitting on my shelf for quite a bit, and I've been waiting to open him, so let's take a look at the box before we actually get into it. You can see he's got a Cybertronian car. I'm sure a lot of people have already got him, but I wanted to review him to just kind of give it a look, because also somebody sent me a gift that I hope goes well with it. There's going to be a lot of Prowl in this video, so if you like Prowl as a character, you will see a lot of him. So sit back, relax, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and let's transform and roll out. Okay, so here he is in his vehicle mode, and they've designed him very much like a Cybertronian car, which, as you can see, he's got Cybertronian lettering on the side. I'm sure that probably means police. Of course, I could look it up. And there's quite a bit of detailing on him, which is nice. He does have a lot of styling that makes him feel like it's the same vehicle as his Earth vehicle, except for the fact that they try to make it a little bit more Cybertronian, so you see a little bit of the Cybertronian parts in the clear plastic, and he's got clear plastic wheels, which I don't really care for these clear plastic wheels at all. I think that the wheels could have benefited from just being black, or a gray plastic. Would have been a lot better than the clear plastic. And the other thing is that when he is in vehicle mode, the wheels don't seem to be very smooth, so rolling seems to be a little bit of an issue for him, unless of course you're kind of pressing down. The back wheels turn very well, but the front ones seem to skid against the plastic of what should be a bigger wheel well. So that is something to concern yourself with. His gun itself can actually peg onto the top of the light bar, which, by the way, without the light bar, this vehicle mode looks kind of weird. Not gonna lie, with this like very, very strange roof because of the way that the windows are supposed to line up, and it just kind of gives him a weird look that I think that, looking from the images of what Blue Streak is supposed to look like, I think that this looks better with the light bar, but Blue Streak actually is a better paint scheme from what we've seen in images. Something that is also cool about him is that, of course, as with other Siege toys, he scales very well with other Siege figures. Most notably here with Ultra Magnus, Optimus Prime, Ironhide, and might as well see scale with Bumblebee. So you can see the figures do scale together very nicely when it comes down to it. And since Prowl is a smaller car, you could have him ride on top of Ultra Magnus, like you probably would do, since Ultra Magnus is a car carrier. And like I usually do, the previous mold that came out for Prowl was the Classics or Universe Prowl that came out quite a few years ago. And this one obviously is an Earth vehicle. It's a much more updated than his G1 vehicle. And they also released the mold as Blue Streak. And I like the Earth vehicles, as far as the vehicle mode, a little bit better than Siege Prowl, especially for the fact that these wheels turn much nicer than Siege does. And of course, he probably has his classic rivalry with Barricade, which this is the only movie figure that I own. You guys already know, I'm not a big Michael Bay Transformers fan, but Barricade was one that was gifted to me, so it works really well going against, one cop car against the other. And going back in time, we'll go back to Robots in Disguise 2001 with Prowl there. This is the supercharged version of Prowl, and of course the Spy Changer Prowl. I do have the regular Prowl of this particular mold, but he's buried somewhere, so I have to go looking for him. But I figured I would get this one out anyway. And let's compare Siege Prowl to his G1 self. This is what the G1 toy looked like as far as, you know, a police car. This was an old Nissan or Datsun, I think it is, or yeah, something like that. 280ZX turbo, and of course it's the police car variant. And then of course the Blue Streak toy was in all silver. Of course, if you guys have seen my Blue Streak video, you would know that. So you can see the differences between Siege Prowl and what they were going with when it comes down to his G1 self. Getting down to transformation with him is very much like his G1 toy. It is a little bit different, but as you can see on camera, there isn't much that you need to do in comparison to some of the other toys, especially like 2001 Robots in Disguise. The first thing I would recommend doing is opening the doors, which reveals things on the inside. Fold out his arms like so. Pop them out. And then what we're going to do is we're going to fold these legs out. And the actual mechanism there, it's kind of like, it almost like folds in. And you might need to actually remove the light bar before transforming him, but that's basically how you're going to get around getting these legs to go out straight. This is a weird transformation. You turn the waist 180 degrees, and then there is a fold out part there that opens up this way. And the hood itself, there's a piece here that, first of all, you have to get the waist out, then this one plastic piece, and you can kind of see the canopy there. I mean, the little opening, that's where this little plastic piece goes. It's something when I first transformed him, I was like, how in the world is this supposed to like line up? And then you bring out the midsection, and you got to get his head through that hole. Which actually works better if you line up the plastic piece out a little bit more, just to get his head through. And then once it's in, you kind of fold everything into place. It kind of like pops in really easily. And you move the wheels towards the back, fold them out this way, and then of course transform the feet so that he can stand. And the one thing that's weird about these feet, you'll notice, is that like they turn in this way, and then he has these weird heels that stick out. It just kind of like feels weird for the character because of the way his the back part of the car is that turns into his feet, and the way that his heels stand up to make him stand properly. But once he's in robot mode, he looks really nice. He's fully posable. A lot of it has to do with the fact of his transformation. He's got waist movement. You can move his heels. You can move his feet this way, so to kind of get like a little bit cool poses. You can move his legs out. He can bend at the knees. He can bend at the elbows. He can turn his arms 180 degrees, actually completely around, which is nice. You can do it on both sides. And his head is on a ball joint, so you can pose it however you desire. With his gun, you can leave the light bar in the back for that authentic G1 look, but the way that the instructions want you to do it, they want you to attach the light bar to the top of the gun. But playing around with him, he does seem like a pretty cool Prowl toy. I think if you're looking for a good G1 style Prowl, this isn't a bad option, but the problem you'll have here is that his weapon, at least mine, doesn't stay in his hand very well. I got a gift from Larkin's Lair. If you've not subscribed to his YouTube channel, he does a lot of customized work, and he does a little bit of reviews with toys, but he sent me a gift, and that is these 3D printed shoulder cannons, because the toy does not have them. And it kind of completes the look if you want that authentic G1 toy styled look. Maybe you might want to get in contact with him. Maybe he would be willing to sell you guys one for his shoulder mounted cannons, or do what probably I'm going to do next, is get the Toy Hacks labels to make him more of an Earth-style car. Okay, so first comparison I want to bring up is his G1 toy, which you can see here with his missile launchers attached, as I have with the 3D printed ones that I got from Larkin's Lair. And since this is a reissue Blue Streak, I don't have the non-firing missiles for this Blue Streak, but just so you can see how the mold turns out as far as scaling is concerned. So you can see that the G1 toys are much smaller in comparison, but it is a little bit different with other toys. And I compare him to the next generation, which is the Robots in Disguise Prowl with Prowl 2, which was the Spy Changer. So you can see the two of them next to each other when comparing other Prowls. And the fight of the century was always going to be Prowl versus Barricade. For whatever reason, Michael Bay decided to make the cop car be the bad guy and made Barricade, instead of a Formula One racer, made him a police car. So you can see what he looks like there in scaling to Prowl, having them face off against each other. This insect face just does not do it for me. And this is kind of like one of the reasons why I am very much a stickler for G1 and that, and also stance with these robots. Many people probably wanted to compare this Prowl versus the Generations Prowl, which was more of an off-white plastic, unless mine is starting to yellow over time. You can kind of see the difference between the two of them. And then, of course, Generations Blue Streak, and they don't stand very well, even with the heels out. No matter how much I try to get these robots to stand up, it doesn't stand up very well. He's breakdancing, so having a lot of fun. Probably Prowl is going to be yelling at him no matter what you do. And I like this robot mode a lot more in comparison to this robot mode. This one, the head is weird, the proportions are weird. This one is better proportion in comparison, even though this one has a better car mode. And then seeing how well he scales with his other Generation Siege toys. There's Ultra Magnus, Ironhide, Optimus, and Bumblebee, just to see a size comparison between them all. At the end of the day, I think this Prowl is a very good toy. I think that this is probably the best Generations Prowl. If you can get the Toy Hacks labels, probably to make him more of an Earth-style car, unless you like the Cybertronian vehicle. I don't recommend the old classics Generations, especially with the transformation. Many people had problems with the wind, with the doors would always pop off. This one doesn't have that problem. The transformation is nice, it's slick, it's easy. It's a very good toy, unless, of course, you can shell a little bit of the money to get yourself the Masterpiece, which I do not have to give you guys a comparison. But this is a good toy nonetheless, and I do recommend it for people who are fans of Prowl. But I want to know what you guys think. What do you think of Transformers Siege War for Cybertron Prowl? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like this review, be sure to thumbs up and subscribe. I have more Transformers discussions and content coming down the pipeline, so stay tuned for all that. Check me out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Help support the channel on Patreon. And as always, guys, until next time, till all are one.